Hey there, welcome to episode 6 of the Second Syndicate. I'm here with my co-host Alicia Garcia, also known as the Boomstick Babe. How you doing tonight?
I'm all right. How
Good,
about you, my
doing
buddy?
good.
So, obviously, in second syndicate fashion, we have Teddy Collins, the Colorado king of the two-way and owner of Spartan Defense. Welcome tonight. We have amazing guests for you. Two of my favorite people. I've been really looking forward to getting them involved on our show, and they grace us with their presence tonight. We have the new kid on the block and a seasoned champion for the state of Colorado at the House of Representatives. We have Rebecca Keltie and Brandi Bradley.
Absolutely. So, welcome on the show tonight. I'd like to start probably with Miss Keltie. What do you think?
Go for it.
All right. So, Rep Keltie, for those of you who don't know, and I'll let her give more of a formal introduction about who she is and what she stands for. But she took someone out of their seats that was an anti-gunner and a lefty by how many votes was it, Rep Keltie?
3 votes.
Three votes. So for those of you at home that say, maybe I shouldn't go to vote because my vote doesn't matter, this is proof right here. Your vote matters. You need to show up and you need to go to those polls and vote 2A. Well, Miss Keltie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, hi there, and thank you very much for having me. I'm glad I was able to get out of committee just in time, so that was perfect. Perfect timing. So I'm currently the state rep for HG 16, House District 16 here in Colorado, which is down in Colorado Springs. And I consider it one of the best districts, but they all say that, so we'll all have to fight for it. I'm retired military. I did 21 years in the United States Navy. I worked I was junior executive for Ross Perot. I worked with the Department of Homeland Security. I worked with Border Patrol, Border Protection, ICE, FBI, CIA, local law enforcement, state law enforcement, pretty much all the agencies, even international law enforcement. And we did special operations out of there for human trafficking, drug trafficking,
Wow.
and because of the location we were in Detroit, Michigan, terror cell operations and integration or infiltration, sorry. And then I actually moved out here. I'm a DOD, a Department of Defense engineer, and I just decided to run for office because we needed someone better in our district because the one that we had was horrible. And I guess my basic principles are, God, country, Constitution, family, and freedom. So
Those are
Awesome.
good principles.
I base my life on those, and that's how I treat my district and how I vote.
We are so happy to have you representing the people. You have no
100%.
idea how enthusiastic we were when we heard that you were running. I know RMGO endorsed you. I know a lot of our friends and gun shops endorsed you. And the night that those votes were being counted, we were sitting on the edge of our seats hoping to God that you were going to take this. So when you did, everybody was cheering for you.
I know that it was very important we took away that supermajority from the other side. Otherwise, we wouldn't be where we are in this battle right now. It would have already been passed. So,
We still have a majority of Democrats in office, but a little less
not
of
that
a
two
majority.
thirds. Yeah.
So, yeah, next guest we have for you tonight is a hero to me. I should say Shiro because she's a badass, and it is Representative Brandi Bradley.
Well,
Welcome to
hello,
the show.
everyone. Thanks for having me on. I represent the great district, HD 39 in Douglas County. So, rural parts of Douglas County, then we swing up into Lone Tree, Castle Pines, Roxborough Park. Didn't want to get involved in this. I am very unqualified compared to Rep Keltie, but a fierce mama bear. When they closed down the schools, started masking up our kids, and there was no research to back that up. I was very angry, got involved with the lawsuit, dissolved the Tri-County Health Board in Douglas County. We were the first ones to pull out, and then from there, Adams and Arapahoe County pulled out. Started going to the school board to flip the school board back to the conservatives that we wanted on there. And I guess when you wear shirts that say domestic terrorist and things like that, you get looked at. And then people asked me to run for office and said there was no way I was going to do it, but felt very called by the Lord to represent my district. And kind of like Rebecca Keltie, I stand for faith, family, freedom. Don't come after my children. Don't come after my guns. Don't come after my businesses, don't come after my healthcare freedom, and we'll be good. But they continuously attack those things to no avail to make our state better. So we're going to continue to fight back.
And we appreciate having you guys as our champions down there at the Gold Dome because we absolutely need you. We need more of you. If we can clone you and get you in other districts, I'd be all for it. But we're going to talk about a lot of gun stuff that is going on down at the Gold Dome. I think there's a record number of like 14 gun bills that are being heard this session. Some of them are good. They help us, such as Armagoss bill to make it a felony 6 to be in possession of a stolen firearm. And then there's a whole bunch of other ones that aren't so good.
Yeah, and then there's also some good ones that have already been shot down. Like last night, we had a bill that would have removed civil protections from individuals that ban your right to protect yourself. So, for example, if a business were to post a sign that restricted concealed carry within their property, they would have been responsible for the security of those individuals if they are harmed on their property. This is something that would have been great to have in place, especially before the Aurora Theater shooting, which is one of those locations that did exactly that. So it's unfortunate, but it sounds like it died in the wee hours of the night. I know I was waiting to testify, and around 11:30 I passed out waiting on Zoom. So
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people were able to speak out last night just because
it's the old switcheroo. It's like what they're doing to us on 003. We were supposed to have it, what was it, Wednesday?
It was supposed to happen yesterday.
Yes.
So just to give the people a synopsis of what's going on, there is Senate Bill 25-003, which started off as a ban on semi-automatic magazine-fed firearms. It has turned into a FOID card on steroids. So it's
through the Colorado Parks and Wildlife of all bureaus to regulate our gun rights.
So I think Rebecca Keltie is actually on the committee that bill is scheduled to be heard in front of. They have shut down this bill in committee, or postponed it, I should say, twice now.
Twice now. They're playing games with us.
So can you chime in, ladies, as to why that happens and what should we expect as the people when a bill gets postponed?
Thank you. Yeah, well, the why is they're just messing with us. You know, people who, they know that people are going to come and protest. You know, they know that people are going to come and testify in the thousands. And they want to try to avoid that. You know, the longer they can postpone and change the date, and I believe this is the second time they changed the date on it. Yep. And then they were messing around. They passed through Senate, but they did the same thing through them. You know, they changed the date. They know that, you know, good groups like RMGO are, you know, they put things together, you know, try to put together, you know, peaceful rallies and show the support for 2A, and they end up just changing the date. And then, you know, all these people want to come in from all over the state, and then of course they have to change your plans, and they're just making it difficult for people to actually stand up for their Second Amendment.
Some people speculate that it's because either they don't have the votes or they want to change the bill, something. I personally think they're just being jerks to us and they want to mess with us. So we had heard last Friday that bill was going to go to committee hearing, which this is the last stop for the public to speak out. And we want to delve into that a little bit more from you ladies to give the public a little bit better understanding of the process of creating a bill, how it gets heard, how it gets passed. But just to give people a background of it, we found out last Friday that bill was going to be heard on Wednesday. That would have been yesterday.
Yes.
And we sprung into action. We pulled the permit. We got in touch with our co-sponsors such as RMGO, the NRA, the NSSF, AVA, Leslie, Dragon Man.
Everybody that we could. Everybody that was willing to help. Yeah. And unfortunately, they pulled the rug out on us. And the rumors is that we might be hearing it Tuesday. We're going to wait to get confirmation on that before we announce it. But we've already pulled permits for the next 2 or 3 weeks just in case. That way, we're ready to go. And we will have, if it is Tuesday or Wednesday of this week, we will have a big announcement of a special event speaker that we will leave to your imagination for now until everything's confirmed. But what is it, 5 or 7 million subscribers on YouTube?
I think he has 4.5 million
Let's not be too
subscribers
specific.
right now.
Let's not be too specific. We don't want to give it away.
But we do have one of the
Big
biggest
name.
gun tubers that we are hoping to get. We're 90% confirmed on their attendance, so this is going to be pretty big. We actually reached 500,000 people on the rally that we posted that was to be held yesterday. It was shared on Black Guns Matter. It was shared by Lily Tang Williams. Lily Tang Williams personally called me and I almost lost it. I had to pull over and was like, oh my God, this person is talking to me. She knows I'm alive. And we had, I think her name is Dana Loesch. Is that how you say it?
Dana Loesch.
Yeah, she shared our rally, so it really got a lot of hype. So I think we're just going to take it even larger than we had it planned.
Yeah, you know what? This is actually giving us more time to organize and plan something. If we do set a date this time, we're going to stick to it, hearing or not. I think that's the best policy, because we're trying to get all these people together. People are taking time off work. Hell, even if they're not holding the hearing, we'll put the speakers outside so loud that everybody in that Capitol building can hear our testimonies, and we'll start calling people up.
We are the disruptive people of the 2A.
Civilly disobedient. That's the way to say it, okay? We'll do some Henry Thoreau there.
Don't get us too much in trouble, but hey. So that's one of the things I really do want to explore, ladies, if you don't want to. I don't know, whichever one of you want to chime in, but what happens, how does a bill get created, and how do we pass it
I'm just
through?
a bill on Capitol Hill.
I'll let Brandi, since I'm the freshman, I'll let the senior speak.
All right.
The senior. So, you create a bill, you get some ideas, hopefully from constituents in your district that have an idea that want to make, for the Republicans, Colorado safer, better, less regulated. For the Democrats, you get someone like Brady, or the bigwigs, anti-gun, moms demand action, wanting to make our lives handcuffed, the law-abiding citizens of our state handcuffed. So
That's because
you
they
bring
can't
a
think
bill-
for themselves. Sorry.
Well, I mean, we had one fall asleep in Health and Human Services yesterday, so trust me. So we draft a bill, we get a bill title, we have a drafter assigned to us, and then you get it drafted, and then you go to committee. Most of ours get assigned to what is called the Kill Committee. So I think that's probably Judiciary this year, or State Veteran Affairs. And then if you're a Republican, you probably don't make it past that point.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, if you make it past that point, what happens. So Rebecca, Keltie, and I don't typically make it past that point, because we usually are passing messaging bills, or bills that they're not going to like in the first place, just to put them on record. So you get it through, if it starts in the House, you get it through a committee in the House. Then if it doesn't have an appropriation to it, then it goes onto the floor. And another important thing is, most of the Democrat bills we're seeing have no fiscal note. I don't know where their fiscal notes, where all this money is coming from to start new departments and things like that. But for some reason, they don't have any fiscal notes on most of their bills.
Bradley, I really want to know who these people are with these fiscal notes, because I need them to do my taxes. So however they're making that happen, it's some very creative accounting.
So for the people who aren't very knowledgeable of what we're talking about, a fiscal note is basically saying what it's going to cost the state to make this happen. Am I correct?
You're correct. And I would say a lot of the Democrat bills, what we're seeing, since we're $1 billion in debt right now, and they shouldn't be asking for money, but we know that through all the introduced bills so far, there's about $250 million. Rebecca has one right there. $250 million in asks for money. And what the Democrats are doing, they're either trying to violate Tabor, so they're trying to go around and use Tabor funds, or they're creating enterprises, which are fees that don't have to go to the taxpayers to be voted on. So
interesting. All of a sudden, they can get all of these things done without money.
And without voter approval. So they're basically
getting around Tabor.
They're getting around taxpayer bill of rights, but they're also getting around the taxpayers, and the taxpayers aren't voting on these new enterprises. So It goes to the House floor if it happens to pass through Finance Committee or Appropriations if there is a fiscal note. And then you go through second reading, and that's where we typically blow up these anti 2A gun bills. And then it comes back for third readings. And then if it passes through the House, then it does all that same things through the Senate. So it goes through the Senate committee it's assigned to. Then it goes through Senate second readings, Senate third readings, and then it's placed on the governor's desk to be signed.
And if there's any modifications between the Senate and the House, it has to go to reconciliation first, right?
Correct. Sorry.
Okay.
So if it's a House bill and the Senate places an amendment on it, then it comes back to the House for us to authorize the amendment that the Senate put on it.
It's a complex process, to be sure. Thank you for explaining that. I think a lot of people, they remember their government class in high school, and they remember how a federal bill is made. It is very similar on the federal level, but in Colorado, there's definitely some more steps and possibly trickery that have been used as of late.
So, do amendments help or hinder to get what you want done? Because in my perspective, when we have this heinous gun bill, if we allow it to be amended, it makes it easier for them to pass. I prefer it to stay as ugly as possible so we can legislate it down the line or even sue over it and litigate it. But, do you guys want to elaborate on that?
I'll elaborate a little bit, and you are right. It's yes and yes for that. It can help. You have to kind of decide what hill you have to die on. So some bills, they're not quite so bad, and we can try to make them. We know they're going to pass. So do we make them better as much as we can, or if they're just like this, Senate bills,
We're trying to
003, let it die. I mean, let it be as bad as possible, so then we can sue them and get it out. Let the courts take care of it. But it's a toss up sometimes. And that's one of the things I'm learning as the freshman, I'm like, okay, which do we do? And I look to leadership for that kind of stuff because like Brandi, she's been through this and man, she can pick out things. She reads they say you read between the lines. She reads even deeper than that. She does really great when it comes
we need
to
that.
I appreciate that.
I'll just add to that. With the gun bills, I'll be very clear with your listeners. We won't add an amendment that will be challenged in court that will make this bill constitutional if that amendment were to pass. We are not stupid enough to do that. And I know that I went up to run an amendment to make females 18 through 20 exempt from the ammo bill. And people were like, why are you just defending females? That is not our intent. Our intent is to drag this bill on for 6, 7, 8 hours and to make them feel and look as stupid as they possibly can. You have women that are getting raped between the ages of 18 and 24. Now you don't want them to buy ammo. You have women that are waitresses in downtown Denver, one of the most crime-ridden cities in the United States, and you don't want them to buy ammo to defend themselves. And you have an excise tax on ammo that now you're limiting a big portion of people that like to target shoot and practice from buying ammo that will give the tax to those victims. So the hypocrisy is ridiculous, but I promise you, we're not going to offer amendments on gun bills without making sure our 2A community is not okay with it and it won't be challengeable in court. So
yeah, I know one of the tactics that they've been using as of late is a separate where if a certain portion of the bill gets struck down in court, the remaining portions of the bill are still enforceable. Like they've segmented it out. I know that I've seen that in a few bills, and they've talked a little bit about that. So, like if they strike down, for example, an age on the bill, the other parts of the bill would still remain enforceable. I can't remember what that's called, but I remember hearing something about that from a few reps. Yeah.
That's new news to me. I mean, this is such a learning curve. I mean, when I first started getting involved in politics, it was just like drinking from a fire hose, just learning as you go along. And I just had to actually just take a day and sit and listen to House and Senate debates just so I kind of figure out what it was. And once I started paying attention, it's like, this is really entertaining. It's like I would much rather watch this than sports because there are some wild things that get done and said on these Senate and House floors.
Well, the plot thickens every time we
Oh, yeah.
watch one of these things. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm with you.
So there, since you brought up the ammo bill, that was House Bill 25-1133, if I'm not mistaken. And what that ammo bill does is it restricts anyone from the year 18 to 20 from being
Correct.
able to purchase ammunition, and it also puts
No
requirements.
exceptions as well for military
Yeah.
or anything of that nature. They killed those amendments, if I remember correct.
And they prevents gun shop owners like yourself from being able to have ammunition on the floor.
Correct. We can have it behind the counters, but we can't have it on the floor. I remember one of the stupidest arguments I saw during the testimonies and during the debate was someone stated they didn't want ammo vending machines outside of King Supers, which there are ammo vending machines these days, but they do require you to scan your ID and they do facial recognition, so they're pretty damn secure, so to speak.
But if you want to talk about the ammo bill, so that was in the Judiciary Committee, and Representative Keltie, you are on that committee, correct?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yeah, you got
We go to
some
the wee
interesting
hours of
colleagues
the
on there.
Yeah, we're there so late, but I honestly, it is a pain, but I'm glad that we've got some really strong members on the judiciary, and we fight back on everything we have to, especially this ammo bill. This ammo bill was ridiculous, and I asked the bill sponsor. I said, "Do you believe that the Constitution pertains to young adults 18 to 20?" And she said yes. I said, "Okay, we agree on that." I said, "How about, do you believe then your bill forbidding them or banning them from buying ammo for their Second Amendment right, 18 to 20, do you believe that's unconstitutional?" And she's like, "No." I'm like, "We can't have both. It can't be constitutional and not constitutional. It just, there's no rhyme or reason. There's just absolute lack of common sense." And I absolutely I believe that they've never read the Constitution.
I agree.
I firmly believe that they have no idea. And the person that I replaced actually said in public that the Constitution was not written for her and it does not pertain to her. And I really think that they all believe that. I think that, you know what, there's other countries you can move to then, but
Agreed.
Agreed. I don't think there's any country that has as much freedom as ours does, though. So let them have fun in South America or Africa or Asia, somewhere where free speech is suppressed.
Or communistic countries.
There you go.
I don't understand that. Freedom is ugly. We realize that. We don't all agree on the things that we like or don't like. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's free to be racist. It's free to be a disgusting POS. It's free to worship the devil.
As we've seen with the other side.
Yeah. But at the same time, the other side of freedom is you do that over there away from me and don't infringe on my ability to protect, defend, and educate my kids.
Freedom for me, but not for thee.
Yeah. And that's what we're seeing here. And I want people to really understand it's not that we're, these hardcore Republicans. People want to always make it seem like, oh, you're such a right-wing extremist. No, I'm a constitutionalist. I believe in the real freedoms that people died for us to have. Women died, men died, children died.
Children.
For us to be able to have these rights, and they're being disregarded based on an idea that is being force-fed on media, movies. Just, it's like a propaganda train that is sweeping the nation. And when we stand up and we fight back, we are labeled as disgruntled, extremists, all these things. And all we're really doing is saying, no. These are things that are guaranteed to us not only by civil rights, but human rights.
Yeah, we haven't really, I've seen the other side make some real personal attacks on us as people and as a community, and we haven't really done that. There hasn't, we're not slinging the mud like that. We're just trying to fight for our constitutional right over here.
Do you experience as House reps these fringe groups such as Moms Demand and, Every Town to come to you and speak to you? I've heard they kind of mob you guys and overpower you and get real pushy.
They did. And Brandi, you can tell the story about were you here for the cars when they were mobbing the cars and climbing on people's cars?
What?
Oh, wow. If we did
They
that,
just
we'd all be in
they
jail.
put
Yeah.
they put letters all over our cars. They don't mob me. They don't come up to me.
Good.
I walked right through them the other day and they didn't say a word to me. I probably threw 15 of them. They don't come to me.
Wow. So they do mob at the Capitol.
Yeah, they got on the car. I wasn't out there at the time, but they got on people's cars and they were trying to block them. And they were, it's like, we're the people of the peaceful protests, and they're the ones who scream about peaceful protests, but do the exact opposite.
Yeah. So the other day, it was when I was in front of you, Rep. Bradley. I forget what bill we were speaking on that day, because there are so many. We actually had
The
what was
gun
it?
show bill.
Oh, the gun show bill. No, it was
Yeah.
right before the gun show bill.
Okay.
There's too many to remember these days. There's so
Right.
much going on.
So
It's been crazy.
I've been testifying in open committee hearing for years. And every time I go down there, and I'm thankful for this, but I've seen our side finally kind of step up and show up more. But it originally started that it was just a few people. It was RMGO, it was me, it was a couple other people that, you could stereotypically count on like 5 to 10 of us. Well, I see also all the Moms Demand Action ladies, and I'm nice, I'm polite. I say hello, I greet them, I introduce myself, I tell them, hey, if you're ever open to an honest and non-confrontational discussion, here's my business card, I'd love to hear from you. And they treat me like I'm the bad guy.
I will say that's usually the experience that I have as well, but I did have a really interesting interaction with one individual from that group during the last hearing that we had in the Senate. It's pretty interesting. They were very interested in finding out more about why we're against this and what self-defense really means, things of that nature. And I think we'll see. They've actually been in touch since. So we'll see what
That's
happens.
good. I mean, that's nice to hear. But I mean, when we're speaking and when a panel that supports guns is speaking, they will
Chuckle
moan and say awful things and poke fun at us and scoff at us and, throw jabs, just throw verbal jabs. And it's like,
make fun of our appearances, things
they
of that
do.
nature.
And
They
it's
do.
like, we don't do any of that to you. And even
No.
if we try to be nice and if we try to be friendly, they don't even want to hear it. They don't want anything to do with us. And it's to this point, it's like, how are we ever going to find common ground if you just treat us like the redheaded stepchild that you never wanted every time you see us? It's like, we're literally leading, peacefully. We're here to have discussions. We see you all the time. We're acknowledging you and being respectful, and we get none of that back.
Absolutely. Well, for our guests that we have here tonight, I mean, is there anything that you guys have heard about what's going on and why these delays have been occurring, other than, of course, just possibly messing with us, the opposition? Like, is there any disagreements occurring? Does the governor not want this to pass? Is he on board? What have you guys heard, or gals, I should say? I apologize.
If you don't mind, Brandi, I have heard that he did propose some amendments. They were still bad. I think that because he has aspirations of running for president, he's trying to be very careful. I know, God help us, right? He wants to, he has to message himself correctly, and they're trying to push, kicking the can down the road. I hope that, honestly, I hope it goes and it just dies. It goes to they just wait so long, it just dies. Don't worry about it. We can at least, have our, be safe for another day. But, for me, our First and Second Amendment are first and second for a reason.
Correct.
Absolutely.
And without the second, there would be no first.
And that's one of the things that's why we created not only just this show, but the movement of the Second Syndicate. Our little tagline is literally where the second is first, because without the second, we don't have any other rights. If you have no ability to resist or say no or push back, there are no freedoms. And, I know both of you are really champions for children's rights and women's rights. I would love to highlight some bills and causes that you guys have on the books right now. But it's very, very important that we teach our children and we teach women and we have these resources for them to level that playing field, because Colorado is in the top 3 in the nation right now for violent crime.
Yep. We are
We're the second least safe state. We're 4th least safe for rape. We're 8th least safe state in violent crime. We're 1st for auto theft. I mean, the list goes on and on. And while they're passing all of these wonderful gun bills to take crime and make it better, the only thing they're doing is handcuffing the law-abiding citizens. And it's pathetic and gross and egregious on all different levels.
Yep.
And as far as like fighting for women's rights, and Brandi and I are, we're trying to champion that. I had a bill last night that Brandi was in the committee for that, and they killed it. And all it was to it was called a safe haven bill. It was just to add from 72 hours after a woman gives birth, if she wants to relinquish her baby, which, who's thinking right after just 72 hours after giving birth. We wanted to increase it to 30 days, which is 24 other states have that, because you want a woman to be a mother to be able to make a wise decision.
Correct. And that's a decision that can't be revoked. They need to make an informed and wise decision on that. I'm 100% in agreement with that.
And you're under duress in 72 hours after giving birth. You have, depending on the method of birth, what if it's a cesarean? What if, it's an emergency birth that they have to do those things?
Drugged up usually. And things
exactly.
Of that
You're under duress. You're not in the right state of mind. And women do experience postpartum depression. They experience all of these things. And I mean, I could go deep into history about that, about how they actually sterilized Latinas and Mexicanas in the 50s, 60s, 70s in those hospitals. And they kind of bamboozled these women into giving this consent to be sterilized, and they literally had no idea they were being sterilized.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well,
but they killed it though. So it shows that they don't care about helping to save babies, and they don't care about women's rights.
They only care about women's rights when they can exploit them.
Yeah. Brandi goes through the same thing with her bills. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah, I'm still surprised about the one they heard last night late on the liability removal for businesses that ban people's rights to protect themselves. It just drives me nuts. I would really expect someone like Tom Sullivan to actually sponsor and sign on to that bill, because, again, the theater in which his son's death tragically occurred did not allow carry. In fact, it wasn't the closest theater to the shooter's home. He passed by 2 other theaters to get there, and in interviewing, they interviewed him, and he stated that was the reason that he chose that theater. And the families of individuals that lost their loved ones, including victims that were there, they sued that theater.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go with the theater's name, but they sued and they lost in civil court because state laws protected that business. This bill last night would have reversed that, and you think that someone like Sullivan would hold that theater accountable for their actions, or want to. And
So
it's crazy. He goes after us instead.
What bill is that, so the people watching understand which one it is and they could look it up?
My bill, the one about mother, is 1259.
1259 for the bill on the mother. I think it was 1125 or 8. There's so many bills we're tracking these days.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant my bill.
You're fine.
Oh, your bill.
So,
and honestly, just to tag on to that just real quick, I mean, we ran a bill for retail theft to help businesses. We have $1 billion in retail theft in the state of Colorado. Small businesses are closing everywhere. They keep saying property crime's down. It's down, but it's still exploding. We're the worst state for it. So they can say it's down a little bit, kind of like the mayor of Denver lying about everything that he's saying. And we were going to pass retail theft, this organized retail theft, to make it a misdemeanor and a felony. It's a petty offense. You get a slap on the wrist. So guess where all the criminals are coming to exploit businesses and steal from them? And
Colorado.
Now the businesses can't protect themselves because they're going to be held liable. So this is it's an impetus for criminals come to Colorado because you can do drugs on the streets and you can steal from businesses. And guess what? You can still go home and not go to jail. That should be our motto.
and this is why it's so important
Yeah.
people are able to carry a gun because you
100%.
can't literally go anywhere these days without the danger of being harmed.
No, and the founding fathers knew that not only was the Second Amendment about protecting a citizenry from an oppressive government, it was also, you have to realize, we're talking about a rural 13 colonies. We're talking about a very spread out central government. They knew that you couldn't have a cop on your back, but you might have a gun on your side.
Yeah.
So
What a good statement that is, bro.
Yeah.
I like that.
like that? All
Write
right.
that down.
I'll write that down. I'll
For
patent
women,
that.
for
Spartan defense.
women like the three of us on right now. I mean, I get that men need to carry too, but I want to carry because I'm not going to be a victim. I refuse to let the state make me a victim or my children.
100%.
I refuse to let that happen to my family or my children. Walk in my home or stalk me or follow me and
Yeah.
see what happens to you. No law is ever going to prevent me from defending my children or myself.
Yeah, I
And
hear she
think
carries
about-
a sawed-off shotgun, so you better watch out, guys.
Think about these ladies that were there at the Capitol last night till the wee hours of the evening, early morning, and they have to still walk outside to their vehicles, and
crazy.
they are disarmed. And they previously, which I don't really agree with this, they allowed House reps and people and employees in the building you guys used to be able to carry, and they were exempt from doing that,
think-
and they changed that.
I think the reason you disagree with it is because rights for them, but not for everybody
Yeah.
else. I understand that. Yeah, so that's how it is in a lot of state legislators, and I do agree because these people are our elected officials, and they will be targeted by the
Oh, yeah.
crazies on either side. They should be able to defend themselves, especially in their offices.
Have you guys? I mean, I don't know if people have actually been to downtown Denver anymore. It's a mess. Like, it's disgusting.
People
I
with
was down
needles
there.
on the streets.
Well, I was down there yesterday, and I had to walk over. I walked over to your new office, Rebecca, and it's just literally across the street. But to get across the street, there's people freaking out in the streets, talking to themselves. They are hollering at you. They're doing drugs right there up against the building. They're
Mental health
peeing
is
and
real.
defecating in public. And it's like, are you really going to feel comfortable if you
guess-
have to walk back to your office at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning?
Agreed. And I think, Colorado thanks God every day that San Francisco exists because I think the only place that might be worse than Denver is San Francisco with their Poop Finder app. I don't know if
so
you have to report it. It's pretty bad.
So when it comes to your positions at the office, ladies, what do you feel are the most important bills right now, other than our causes that you guys are championing, that we can kind of put the public on to awaken them to the things you're doing?
How can we support you who support us?
Well, I've got. Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Rebecca.
Oh, no, go ahead, Brandi. Go ahead.
I've got a very important bill coming up on Tuesday, and they've reprimanded me because I speak out on my X account, and I called out 5 pediatricians that were gleeful about prescribing puberty blockers to minors, and they publicly testified. So I put their names and their pictures up, and I got a note from the speaker saying that I was in violation of workplace ethics and to take my post down. And basically, ever since that day, they have killed all of my bills, and they have decided not to put any Democrats on my bills. They have been told that I will not have any wins at the Capitol. So we'll see. So next Tuesday,
So they
I have
blacklisted you essentially.
yeah. They blacklisted me. So essentially, they removed the handcuffs. So now I have no fear whatsoever. And what they did was the reverse of what they thought they were going to do, because now I'm going to scream it from the rooftops.
Well,
But I do have a-
anytime you want to shame somebody publicly, you go right ahead and message me.
I
I
mean,
will
just look at my
happily do that.
Twitter. I do it all the time.
That's called free speech, by the way, and especially
Right.
as an elected official, you should have the right to that. I would love to see them try to do something based upon your free speech against
they will.
work that. But
they do.
Take it to the courts. I
They
think that would
gavel
be
us.
yeah,
They
I know
gavel
do.
us
I
if
know they
we
do.
directly address. So maybe that's something you ladies can clear up for me. There's been plenty times that I've directly addressed somebody, a House rep or a senator on committee, and I get gavelled, and they tell me, you can't directly address one of us. And I'm like, wait a minute. You guys work for me. You guys are servants of the public.
Yes, ma'am. That I completely and absolutely agree with you, and I've been gavelled down too. So
That's
I mean,
ridiculous.
I spend all my time in the principal's office. I think I walk up and she has the gavel in her hand. So but what you can get around that, Alicia, by saying the representative that represents and be very specific about where they represent. For some reason, you can't say our names. And, I've had some ugly people coming after me. I don't really care if they say my name, but you could say the representative from Douglas County.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
you can go against them by doing things like that. But what I was going to say, my
So I
child
can
raised
say the
12.
senator that looks like a lazy boy couch.
I mean, I think you could say that. I don't know that you're necessarily going to get gavelled down for that. But
With his leather jacket. Sorry, go
Look
ahead.
at that.
I apologize. I got
Right.
off on a tangent there.
House Bill 25-1073, your viewers need to understand while they are tying the hands of parents to defend and protect their children, that in the state of Colorado, if you are a criminal and you rape a child one time, so you could rape a child or 10 different children, as long as you only do it once, you get a sentence of probation in our state.
How could anybody be against a bill to increase penalties for something like that? That's insane.
The
It
fact that you
disgusts me.
think that we work with rational people is insane.
Oh, I've met a few. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm checking out the comment section right now on my phone. I'm just going to say some shout outs to some awesome people. It looks like we have I-68 Consulting. We have,
Joshua Salem.
oh, yeah, we got
Oh, I
Josh
love
Salem.
Josh Salem.
I love Josh Salem.
Hey,
We have
Josh.
Hannah Goodman in the audience.
Hannah.
Shout out to her and her wonderful organization. We have Jilly, ICU Girl. There's some awesome people out there. Free State, Colorado, right on.
Oh, yeah,
So
guys,
it's
thank
really
you, guys.
All
nice
the
to see.
patriots. Those
Yeah.
are the patriots.
Those
Love
are really good
guys.
people. And, that's one thing I will say about all these ugly laws that they keep proposing and proposing against our community. They are making us more dedicated. They are uniting us. We are getting stronger. We are getting more persistent. And we are putting such a movement together. It's to the point where it's like, uh-oh. You guys woke a sleeping giant, and now we're pissed.
Yeah, we actually have gun groups now working together.
Yes.
Instead of, separately from each other as a coalition. They have awoken the sleeping dragon.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Syndicate, baby. Join the Syndicate.
Join the syndicate.
So back to what you were saying, Rep. Bradley, that you could literally molest a child and you get probation. Imagine.
Penetrate a child, sexually assault a child, and
That's
go
insane.
home and get probation. Go home.
A child.
A
Not,
child.
what is the
minor,
penalty
a
for
baby.
adults then? It's
Right.
that's insane.
And so the public defenders, we try to bring them to the table. We had the district attorneys who voted unanimously to support this bill, which is very hard to get 23 to support a bill.
Yeah.
Public defender said it's not fair to have these criminals waiting for their sex offender training and to have completed that and then wait to get out of jail. And I said it's not fair when they know the crime to sexually assault a minor. And I'll tell you, the people that they assault, these minors, end up in juvenile and becoming career criminals because they don't know what to do with that hurt. So,
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, go ahead.
I was going to say, you brought up juveniles, and you also talked about your bill to increase the penalty for theft. I was someone where my store was directly affected by something of that nature. We had a car run through our store at about 4 a.m. in the morning. Actually, 3 minors whose citizenship are in question that could not be reported to ICE. We actually had John Fabricatore on a few weeks ago, and we were talking.
Shout out to John.
Shout out to
Love
John. He's a
John.
good dude, man.
Love
He's a
him.
good dude. But, interestingly enough, these minors, it was basically an adult with 3 minors. These 3 minors were back on the street in almost no time. And since the driver was the getaway driver who was essentially using these minors to commit the crime, he was also back on the street. I believe they got some community service because there's not enough juvenile beds. And that's a huge issue here in Colorado. From my understanding, there's only 100 and some odd juvenile beds for multiple cities. And I think Colorado Springs, a city of close to 500,000 with our surrounding suburbs,
Yep.
has 22 juvenile beds for the 500,000 people that live
Yeah.
in this area. That's insane.
You know, there's a bill to increase that, right?
Yeah, but how many are they increasing it to?
So I think they're going from
There
254
you go,
to
254.
315, and
I
then
mean,
it's going
anything's
to
better than what
increase.
we have.
But they're trying to kill it. And Denver Post just put out a hit piece, so they pulled it off of Health and Human Services on Tuesday because the Denver Post said that in these juvenile facilities they're sneaking in drugs and breaking bones, and so they had to remove it. But they've got the governor's support, so I don't know. Douglas County, we have to share our juvenile program or the beds with three other counties. So we're essentially letting out first offender or first degree assaults with a rapist. So you let
Yeah,
out a
you have to
rapist to
choose
bring
between the
in,
murderer and the rapist to keep in one of
right,
those 22 beds. That's insane.
Wow.
right.
We
Oh,
just got
whoa,
a
Joe.
super
Holy
chat
crap.
from Joe. You
$200, brother?
always sprinkle the love,
Thank you,
my
brother. We
friend.
appreciate that.
Shout
That
out
really
to the
supports our channel.
chainsaw. Whoop, whoop.
Shout out to the Chainsaw Caucus, bringing Republicans and Libertarians together.
So
Awesome.
we really want to say that how much we appreciate everybody that tunes into us and everybody that has been on our show. One of the things that we've really wanted to work on for this show is to create a space where we can focus on Colorado and the issues that are facing us and real people. There's a lot of really cool shows out there. We have a great network of people, but these are the things and the real people that are being affected right now in this space in this time to give that amplification so the public can say, okay, maybe this is something I didn't know about. And maybe it's not directly a gun bill, but these things affect your safety. They affect your
100%.
self-defense. Like, for example, these bills that are affecting the safety of minors and the way you protect your children. I really want to implore everybody out there right now listening that the time is now. If you haven't stocked up on ammunition, if you haven't stocked up on food and medical gear and guns and ammo and training, you better do it now.
Better do it now. Not only that, but in April 1st, we have a 6.5% excise tax going into effect. I actually will have an update on that for our next show because we have a legal challenge coming and we can talk more about that. That being said, though, I want to give a big shout out to Josh Salem. Thank you, brother. $50 to the chat. Guys, can we get a round of applause for Joe and Josh in the chat here? That would be awesome. Give them some clapping hands there. Thank you, guys.
So just so you guys know, when you give us little chats like that, super chats, all that money goes into reinvesting into this production, into fighting these unconstitutional laws,
Correct.
into our rally that we are having next week. So thank you. We really appreciate it. I mean, I'm sitting back here with no shoes, so we're doing everything that we can to keep moving because we're moving and shaking in here. We're putting in a lot of time and a lot of effort into making sure that we can keep this community educated and empowered and united. And ladies like this that we have, Rebecca and Brandi, you guys are
These are role models.
these are the women
Sheroes,
that we
like
need.
you said.
My sheroes, man.
Yes.
It's like we see all these females that are given these huge platforms. These are the type of women young girls need to be looking up to. These are the women that are saving our communities, that are putting in the work, that are putting their time away from their families to be the voices of the children, of the families, of the communities that don't really have a voice.
How late were you ladies there last night? I know some of you had, I know at least one of you had a committee hearing. How late were you there?
I was here until 11, but Brandi.
1:30 a.m.
Oh
Wow.
my God.
So they're burning the midnight oil for you guys and to make sure that your rights are protected and your freedoms are protected. So make sure you remember these people and that you support them.
And follow them on all their social media platforms and pay attention to the bills that they're supporting, the committees they're on, and the information they're sharing because
we need people to show up to testify on Zoom or in person. They really need people to come out, regular citizens, normal people, not the crazies in the red shirts, to show up and support these things.
So ladies, from your perspective, each of you, I'd love to hear your responses. What are things people should be saying? How should they be showing up to testimony? What are things that, not just the Republicans, but the Democrats are looking for when people come to speak publicly?
Well, I know that they can testify either in person, which really I think kind of shows when you show up, they pay a little bit more attention to you.
100%.
But they can also testify remotely, and that's, you go in there, you can sign up on the link and sign up to testify if you can't come in. So, but honestly, we'll take any testifying that you can do. I do know, like, if some people try to send in letters or
They
their
don't get read.
written testimony, but honestly, I've never seen them even use that. I have never seen them use written testimony. So if you can show up either online or in person, that helps us tremendously.
I would even go say the further, not, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. There's a little bit of delay here, but to go even further, even if you can't show up in person versus doing written testimony, pass your testimony on to one of us or somebody else that will be present and they can read as your proxy.
Yep. You can still sign up, and when they call your name, we'll say, hey, we're here to as their proxy to testify. Yeah. But
well,
please
can
continue.
I make one suggestion?
Yes, ma'am.
The multiple emails that we get that say the same thing, if you really don't want your guns taken away, then you can spend 30 seconds, 90 seconds crafting a personal email on why gun ownership is so important to you. To get 500 emails that are the same, I look for my constituents, but they will not. The Democrats are not going to do it. We need to hear testimony of home invasions that you stopped, why it's important as a woman for you to own a gun, why it's important as a disabled member of the community to own a gun. All of those things, it takes 2 minutes. I mean, they're taking your rights away. And if you don't have time to spend 2 minutes to write an email, then please don't talk to us about how hard we're fighting up here.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's the least that people can do. And, we'll be providing a lot more resources on the secondsyndicate.com here soon to help facilitate that for people that follow us. Definitely, guys, if you haven't followed the Second Syndicate on Facebook or YouTube, which is actually our Spartan Defense Armory channel, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you ring the bell on YouTube so that you will actually get notified when we give announcements. Right now, if you don't have that bell ring for notifications, you're not going to get any.
Yeah, subscribe to us. I mean, we're out here with a different platform. Obviously, the world doesn't want us sharing these types of topics with the people. They don't want us highlighting firearms ownership. So the more you can support us, the more you can share our content, that really helps us. And here's the thing, all of that is free. It only takes a moment for you to reshare our posts, to talk to somebody in your community about these bills that are going on and share their names of these ladies that are fighting for you. Go follow them on their social medias. And we have to start speaking up to everybody about the issues that we're facing. There is no such thing as compliance if we're doing everything we can to use our voices to resist.
Absolutely.
So, ladies, where can everybody find you? Talk about what are your social medias, what are your causes. Let's give a highlight to each of you and how everybody can give you a little bit more support.
Go ahead, Brandi.
Well, on my X, that's probably where I post the most, and it's Bradley, BRADLEYFOR, so 4CO. I post on there as much as I possibly can. Facebook is where the liberals troll me the most, so I don't give them any time or attention, and that infuriates them, so I love it. And that's just Representative Brandi Bradley on both Instagram. But probably the most important is my newsletter, and you can get that at Brandi with an I, Bradley, FOR, HD39.com.
Awesome.
I'm going to go sign up for that too.
Bradley.
Awesome.
And then for mine, I'm Rebecca Keltie. So I'm an HD16. So I'm getting used to the social media thing. I know Brandy's like, "What's your X?" I'm like, "I don't know the X," but no, it's Rebecca Keltie, HD16 on X, I believe. And then I think you can search for me. I know I'm horrible. And then on Facebook, again, it's Rebecca Keltie for HD16 on there as well. So, and I do answer messages and anything like that if people want to talk to me or ask any questions and that kind of stuff. I'm always encouraging people to run for office. So I made sure, because honestly, it's not so much, we only have 22 of us.
Yeah.
And we need more seats. We don't need the same seats covered. We need more seats covered. So if we can identify the weaker Democrats that are out there, and let's just take over their seats. Let's
And
just
help
100%.
us with that, ladies. Like, if there's information that you have that you want to share, you have a direct line and invitation. I know from Teddy and from myself, we are open to hearing anything you have to say. That way we can mobilize this community and focus in on those people and get things done.
William R., thank you for the donation tonight, brother. We really appreciate that.
Woo!
Awesome, man. Let's give that guy a round of applause in the comments. For those of you on X, I know Alicia has her personal X. I think is it at Alicia Garcia or is it the Boomstick Babe?
I have. Why'd you do me like that?
Sorry.
So I have my loudmouth platform. Me being me at Boomstick Babe on X. I do have a personal X, and it is like Miss Alicia Garcia. But I literally,
And then you made me
just
one recently, and I think it's Colorado 2A King.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm still learning how to use this stuff. I'm an old FUD guy, so I apologize.
And we also created a X account, for the Second Syndicate, which is this show and our movement. So we will be sharing more things on there. So help us by reposting us, following us, giving us that support, and follow these amazing ladies and help support their bills, man. Like,
100%,
yes, we're
guys.
very
They
much
need
two-way
us.
here, but like we said, these things affect your safety. These things affect how you protect your kids in other ways,
Just
how
your
you
everyday
protect
life in
yourself as
general.
women. My concern, this is before we close out and stuff. My biggest concern is now that you ladies were stripped of the rights to carry being House representatives at the Capitol. Do you have people that at least walk you to your cars, or
That's a good
officers or
question.
Capitol Police?
They can if you ask. Usually I just walk. I've been fouled a couple times, but
I don't know.
I haven't had any anything bad happen so far. So but the Capitol Police here are great.
Yes, they are.
They will walk you if you ask them to. I'm just kind of ex-military. I'm kind of like, yeah, try me. So.
Yeah.
I'm just a mama bear with a lot of aggression, so I'm like, try me. And
feel
I
like
have
she could
pepper
beat me up.
spray,
Just saying.
and
I feel
I'm
like she could take me.
angry. So
I just worry about you ladies. Like, that's not right. And here's the thing. Evil doesn't wait. There's no way to rationalize bad guys doing bad things. And, I was, like I said, when I was there yesterday, I saw so many goofy things going on in broad daylight, literally right there. And it's like, okay, well, when the dark comes out, that's when all the freaks come out at night. But I just want to make sure that you ladies are all right.
I don't know, Alicia. I think they come out during the day, honestly. I think
It's Denver. They come out at all times, 24/7.
We had a woman get her throat slashed about a month
jeez.
ago.
What?
Yeah,
Is
it
that
was.
near the Capitol.
Yeah, the guy stabbed 4 people and it was a flight attendant. Unfortunately, she had her throat slashed and.
So mass stabbing. Where's our mass stabbing bills, guys?
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
That's horrible what happened,
Let's
but
say
at the
it's
same time,
unfair.
it's hypocrisy. Yeah,
That's disgusting.
it is.
These
disgusting.
things worry me so much.
do.
I'm so thankful that I can use this
Yeah,
thing
don't
that
show
I
it.
got.
We can't show it on camera.
I
we
know,
you
but it's
pack
right
it.
there. Don't think it's not. Don't think it's not. So
Absolutely.
no one thinks that it's not.
I don't go anywhere
know.
without a gun. And if I can't go with a gun, I am so uncomfortable. It's like, this is ridiculous. Is there anything that you ladies want to give a closeout statement to, or, a
I got a
special
question
quote?
for him after that too.
Okay, well, then go
let's hear.
ahead.
No, let's hear the closeout.
No,
and then
ask
okay.
your question.
Well, I just want to know on a lighter note, what's y'all's gun of choice? What's your EDC or your favorite firearm?
Good one.
I like to ask that to every
Good
guest that
one.
comes on.
Well, my
I
favorite.
like that.
my
Oh,
Smith
sorry.
Start with
I've got a
Rebecca.
big
I guess.
old-
Yeah.
I got a big old 357. So,
Uh-oh.
but I do like my 9mm Ruger. I
Okay.
have fun with that too.
There you
So
go. Okay.
Awesome.
What about you?
I'm a Smith & Wesson girl, so I like my MMT. So
All right, we got some American Smith and Wesson representing
Yeah.
going on.
I shot the M&P, the metal, all metal M&P.
Yeah, I like that.
My God, that's
The
a
new
nice gun.
MNP 2.0 metal carry comp that they made with the
gosh,
compensator
that
built
gun's
in. That
nice.
thing is really nice for a micro compact.
I've never really wanted a Smith & Wesson. I mean, I have some, but I've never really wanted one like, oh yeah,
Sure.
this is a gun I'm going to carry.
That made you want one.
Oh my God, did
Yeah.
it ever.
They did a really good job on that. Smith has been doing some good stuff with the semi-automatic world lately.
In the 357 realm, for Miss Brandi Bradley over there, I actually read an article from Asad Ayub, one of the
Good old
greatest
Assad.
geniuses when it comes to self-defense and firearms. And he studied a whole bunch of bodies, like a whole bunch of cadavers from self-defense shoots.
Sure.
Just to see which type of caliber was the best self-defense caliber for a
Internal
person.
cavity wise, 357.
And it's a
United States.
357.
Yeah.
So if
it's
you really
hard.
want to do the most damage with like inertia and physics, it's 357.
Don't get me wrong, 50 BMG will get the job done too.
I mean, in a free world, if we could have our free world again,
yeah, agreed.
it is what it
Agreed.
is.
So Alicia, you know at Dragon Man's this summer, my kids are like, shoot the 50 cal, and they let me shoot that one. Ooh, that was
How was
fun.
that? No, Melissa's awesome. She might be tuning
We
into the show
love
tonight. We love
Melissa. I mean-
we love Dragon Man. They're good people over there.
That was a fun event.
She's
Every
got guns
representative
and
should go
guns.
to that.
Yeah, she could
does.
definitely take me.
I mean, she's almost as small as me. Like,
I know.
like
She's tiny.
You won't like
she
her when she's
is,
angry,
but that girl's got like guns. I'm like, dang girl, what you doing
Yeah,
over there?
that was a fun event for sure.
She's an awesome person. She is actually very helpful and pinnacle in making this rally happen.
Yeah, she's
Her,
she's a
Ava,
co-sponsor for this, and
Yes.
Ava is as well, her sister.
the Flanells.
The Flanells.
The
yes.
Flanells.
Flanells.
Yes. I mean, I'm very proud. Every time I go down to that Capitol, especially last year, it was either Melissa or Ava or all of us. It's really nice to
Always
see
there.
all
They're
of these
always
really,
willing.
really important women in Colorado that are armed women, educating more women. It gives me a really, really good vibe to
Something
be able to
that's
call
needed, the
these
great
women,
equalizer.
allies and peers. So, and same thing to
Women
you
support.
ladies. Like, you guys inspire me every day. I really was excited to have you on our show. We're lining up all these people that we want to get on our show, and I was like, we have to have these ladies because you guys do such a great job. And what a great story. What a great story to inspire other people like with you, Ms. Keltie, to just keep going, keep fighting. Three votes. Wow.
That's insane.
That matters.
Again, guys, remember, your vote does matter. This is living proof right here.
Absolutely.
If she hadn't won that seat, they would still most likely have a supermajority, I believe. And then there would be no debate, essentially no filibuster, nothing to be able to delay or change or amend these bills that they're trying to pass. So that is important.
Yeah. So, ladies, is there any particular things you'd like to share or highlight before we get going?
For me, I'm hoping that people will, get off their butts in this midterm election and actually vote because it's up to them. We can't do it by ourselves. We need everyone. We need all the people to actually help us because this is our state, and we need to start fighting for it. And that requires you to actually just get out there and doggone it, vote.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean,
I would concur, and I would just add, it's so important for voices like you guys to bring the community together. I mean, just looking back when I was going to school board meetings, it was just me sitting there writing my speech, and now there's 50 to 100 parents fighting for parental rights. And I just love that the 2A community is coming together. That's what we need. I mean,
Absolutely.
it shouldn't take them actually taking our guns like they did in Israel and having Hamas come in and slaughter everyone. We cannot get to that point. We cannot let them take our guns. And people have got to get off the couches and start fighting.
We need to stop being sheep and start being sheepdogs.
Absolutely.
Ooh, you got all the
I do.
little,
I've got some good
sound
analogies.
bites tonight,
Some
bro.
bites, absolutely. Well, guys, ladies, thank you so much for coming on tonight. We really appreciate your time. We know that you're busy there at the Capitol. I just want to remind our viewers, please share this after the live stream. Put it on your social media. Share it as far and wide as possible so that people can see this information and help spread that information. If the people watching this do this, this will go far. Remember, we're fighting an anti-2A algorithm on the YouTube and the other social medias out there. Also, keep on guard, so to speak. We may have an announcement coming about Tuesday sooner rather than later. I know it's short, but that's what we're playing with, and we want to make sure that we put out the correct information and not have to reschedule or postpone again. I think regardless of whatever date we put out for this rally that's going to be happening next week for sure, we want to stick to that date even if they cancel that hearing. We need people to show up. We need people to be present. And worst case scenario, if they cancel that hearing, we have that spot for the entire day. I will start bringing people up to read their testimony on the loudspeakers facing towards the Capitol building.
And
we'll make it happen.
We know that it takes a lot for people to come out and testify. it. We know you have families. We know you have jobs. We know this, and they do too. And that's why they do the things that they do and use the tactics that they do, because they want to keep you away. They want to discourage you from speaking out. They want to make it difficult so you give up. And that's why it's so important that you don't. And you can reach out to us. You can reach out to all the amazing people that we mentioned tonight. However we can help you, we will. I really want to say thank you to Joe and to Josh and William and all these awesome people that supported us in the
Thank you,
Super
guys.
Chats
It means a
tonight.
lot.
It means everything to us, actually, that there's people out there that are willing to invest in us, because we want to invest in you, and we want to keep this fight up, and we want to keep this platform just growing and getting stronger. So thank you all, for everyone that tuned in tonight. Thank you, Mister, for being our #1 sponsor at Spartan Defense.
And thank
Please
you
go
for
check them out.
donating your time and all the effort. I don't know if you guys know this. She does this stuff pro bono, guys. She's spending her own money. She's spending her own time to fight for you guys up at the Capitol. So definitely support Alicia.
Thank you, buddy.
Absolutely.
And shout out to the other half of Spartan Defense Row and our media team that stays here, and they work so hard to make sure we have this equipment and we're able to reach out and do these types of lives for you guys. We are going to start doing lives more often. I think we're going to start doing it once a week.
That's the goal. So we'll have another one probably next Thursday at 6 p.m. and we'll put out some notice in advance on that. We might come to you sooner with an update about the rally as soon as we know. It could even be tonight. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But ladies,
tuned.
thank you again for joining us. We would love to have you back. If there's anything we can do to share any information or put the word out for things and any causes that you have, consider you guys a part of the syndicate. And we really, really appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you, ladies.
We appreciate you. Thank you guys for being so fierce. Thank you.
So hit that subscribe, hit that bell, make those comments, and join the syndicate and check us out.
Join or die. Thank you, folks. Y'all have a blessed evening. God bless. Stay safe out there and always be carrying. See you
Peace.
soon.